Welcome welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how fantastic license plates are, ham radio license plates are on Toyotas, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler, 4x4 Toyota Tyler, and joining me here in the studio is the one, the only Snail Armor himself, wearing his chastity belt like a good armor guy does, Mr. Jimmy Jet. How are you, Mr. Chastity?
I'm doing well. You know, there's only one key out there.
For your belt?
Yeah.
Who has it?
Well, the assistant, of course.
Oh, I thought it was like it hit one of the recently
she locks
tokens.
me up every time I go out. And whenever I come home, she unlocks it.
Nice. It's not hidden for the listeners to find with our
with the
tokens.
Yeah.
It's a tape to the back of a token somewhere.
Sure. Yeah.
Help Jimmy, everybody, find the token.
Everybody out there is like, I don't want that token.
And go on the black market.
There you go.
So it'll go on the dark web auction house.
My market.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, that's funny. Oh, man, this is the first episode that we are actually recording in the new year.
Yeah. Well, happy New Year.
Yeah. I haven't seen you all year, man.
Right. Whopping like 3 days.
So speaking of being this early into the new year, how many people got wiped out in the first 3 days of the year here?
In the rain?
No.
What do you mean?
And how many deaths did we have of really important people?
2, 3?
I think we had...
That I know of?
Yeah, we had 2 off-roaders.
Yep.
And then Renner. Jeremy Renner?
He didn't die, though.
No, but he's in like critical condition.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. Who is he? He's the Arrow.
He's Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Yeah, from all the Avengers stuff.
I didn't get that full story. I didn't catch it. It sounded like he was helping. He was like somebody was stuck or something, and then a car ran over him.
Kind of. Yeah, he was helping get somebody recovered in the snow outside of his house up in Reno, Tahoe area. And something happened during the recovery, and he got ran over by his own car. So I'm not sure what happened.
Right.
And they're being very vague about details, but supposedly he's got some pretty bad chest injuries and hand and feet injury, arm and leg injuries.
Right.
So
the first thing, and this was through the grapevine, I heard there was like something that had to do with a snowmobile or a snowblower.
A snowblower was kind of the first thing that came out. Yeah.
And then it turned out that that's not the case.
They just said vehicle. It could have been a vehicle with a snow blower on it, or I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Very few details about it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That one is pretty vague. I did hear about that one. Of course, Ken Block, which everybody saddened about.
That one. Yeah. That one hurts.
My freaking feed is
all Ken Block stuff. Yeah.
Nowadays. And then some Robbie Pierce or Price.
Yeah, Robbie.
I don't know much about that gentleman, but a lot of people are posting about him as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful start of the new year.
Yay!
And us in Northern California are getting rained out.
Yep.
With record-breaking, or actually, we tied the record for last year.
Oh, really?
Did you know that?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, in a 24-hour period, we tied the record that we got last year for the amount of rainfall, at least in Sacramento.
Yeah.
But I'm sure up in the hills they got more.
Dude, what was it? Was it Placerville was recording 7 inches in a 24-hour period?
Oh, I heard it was 10.
10?
Yeah.
There was somewhere that got 14 inches of rain in a 24-hour period up in the hills. And I don't remember. I think it was Pollock.
Today's supposed to be bad, but
it's not
yet.
Too bad here. Yeah.
We got a cyclone. There's like a official cyclone off of California.
Really?
That's what's causing these I can't say that word.
Atmospheric.
Thank you. the rain coming through is a big cyclone that's just spinning off of the coast.
Yep.
Which I can never, in the life of me, I've lived in California all my life. I cannot remember ever having a cyclone out here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty interesting. I mean, we're not getting like hurricane force winds, yet, but we are getting wind warnings of like 30 to 50 mile an hour. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's survivable. That's not like hurricane status yet, but
yeah. However,
we're getting completely drowned in water.
Kind of. And that's where I was going. We're not having like massive 100-mile-an-hour winds, but we're getting 40 to 50 miles. Supposedly we're going to get 40 to 50-mile-an-hour winds, but we just got drenched.
Yeah.
And so everything in the ground is loose right now.
Yeah.
And now we're about to get hit with a windstorm.
Yep.
It's like every tree in California, Northern California, is going to be flat.
Yep.
They're already like trying to go from the assistant's house to the shop. There was probably 5 or 6 trees that had to get cut out of the road for people to go through and get to their locations. And one of them near the house that didn't affect the road, but there was this one tree that fell at a neighbor's house. The root ball was massive, huge, like 12 feet tall or something like that. And then the tree fell into their pond and across their pond. And I'm like, that's going to suck.
Yeah, it's going to be terrible to get out of there.
To get out there. They could cut everything around, but then even in they'll be in the pond in a boat, like lopping logs off to drop into the water. Like, I'm not sure how they're going to do that.
Well, if they drop them off, I mean, they should float.
In theory.
So
yeah. Yeah. Except for like what's underneath. I don't, yeah. So that's going to be a fun one, but yeah, I had one tree fall on, the new house's property. But it actually fell from the neighbor's yard into our yard. And it was only, I don't know, an 8-inch diameter tree.
Okay.
And so, it's nothing too big, but now it gives me a reason to go buy a chainsaw, I guess.
Yeah. Woohoo.
Never had
chainsaw time.
Never really ever needed one until now. Now I have property that has trees on it.
Yeah. Once you get a chainsaw though, you start finding excuses to use it. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I did get a handsaw for Christmas, but
that's boring.
Oh, I know.
That's a peasant saw.
Right.
So are you looking at the 36 or 40 volt Makita or Ryobi yard electric saws, or are you going to go for gas?
I don't know. I haven't thought that far
internal combustion.
Yet. Yeah. I'll probably go with a 40 volt yard Ryobi style.
Yeah, those are great for yard work stuff. They're super easy, low maintenance. You don't really have to do anything to keep them up and running. Just keep the batteries charged.
And they're torquey.
They are fairly torquey. Yeah.
And if I only have one battery, then I really only have to work till the battery dies.
That's true. Oh, sorry, babe. I can't work anymore.
Yeah. I need to go in and play more video games.
Just go hide that handsaw.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know what happened to the handsaw. Sorry. I got to be done.
It should be like, go over to the neighbor's house and go steal their chainsaw.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. Things are going to be interesting. We're at kind of the end of the break in between the two storm systems that have rolled in and kind of rolled over California last week at the end of the week. So Friday, Saturday, was when it was the worst.
Yeah.
The freaking South Fork.
All the way until Saturday. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. The South Fork of the American River, which is the one that I did most of my rafting on. It normally flows at like 1,300 CFS, maybe 1,500, depending on if they're feeling spicy and want to up the flow a little bit more. And so it typically is around there. It reaches flood stage. Like you start getting flood warnings about 15,000 CFS.
Okay.
And when I did
so normal flowing is 3,000?
No, 1,300.
Okay.
1,000.
1,300.
Yes.
Flood rating is 15,000.
Correct.
Got it.
Yep. And when I did my guide school, it was running at anywhere from 8 to 12,000.
Okay.
So that was in 2009.
Sure.
2009 was when I did my guide school. So we had a high water year that year, but it wasn't quite flood stage. It was getting there. And then I've ran the river a bunch at that flow, and the river is super fun at like 3 to 4,000. That's the fun point of the river. On Saturday, it was at 40,000.
Holy
CFS.
Crap. 40,000?
40,000 CFS.
So it was over double flood stage.
Almost triple
flood stage.
Yeah. Flood warning stage. So, Coloma.
It was into flood warning.
Yes.
It was beyond the flood warning stage.
Yeah. Yeah. 40,000 CFS.
Wow.
So Coloma and Lotus was all shut down over the weekend. Pretty much. They had the whole town, nobody could go in anywhere.
Yeah. I know. I told the assistant Because you sent out that graph.
Mm-hmm.
And I told the assistant that normally where we go camping at Camp Lotus is all underwater. Yep. Where we put our tent is literally underwater.
Totally underwater right there. Yeah.
Yeah. And we had a hell of a time trying to go get the mini assistant. So the mini assistant was at her father's house over New Year's.
Yeah.
Which it rained all the way up until more or less New Year's Eve night and New Year's Day. And then New Year's Day, it was sunny.
Mm-hmm.
But every Highway 99's closed. So we had to go down 99 to get her, but we couldn't. Yep. So then we made a meeting spot on a Highway 5.
Okay.
And he couldn't figure out a way to get from 99 to 5.
Okay.
Until we told him how.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, don't you have a mapping system? Like,
do you have a
I don't
smartphone?
Quite. He's not. I don't. I'm not going to talk too bad on him. But he knew 99 was closed. He actually told us 99 was closed.
Oh, interesting.
And he drove up 99 to the spot that it was closed and then said, I can't make it to you guys. And we said, why did you know 99's closed? You can't drive up and then cut across.
Yeah.
You have to cut across below where it's closed.
Yeah.
So we ended up meeting where Highway 12 and Highway 5 meet. And it took us, but everything's friggin', there's traffic everywhere. Mm-hmm. The freeway was flooded.
Yep.
Google suggested taking side roads and we went side roads and the side roads were flooded.
Mm-hmm.
It took an extra 3 hours.
Wow.
to get the mini assistant home.
That's crazy.
It was nuts.
Wow. Yep. Yeah. I don't know. Everything has calmed down quite a bit since Friday, Saturday. We're now recording on a Wednesday afterwards. And so, yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. My house is less than a block from the Sacramento River.
Yes.
Is it the Sacramento or the American?
I think it's
pretty sure it's Sacramento River.
Wait, it's the Sacramento.
Yeah. So I'm less than a block from the Sacramento River. But surprisingly, I'm not in a flood zone.
Yeah, that is shocking.
Yeah.
Because I've always assumed that entire area is considered a flood valley.
Yes. And so I was kind of like, when we bought the house, we were looking at the flood insurance and they're like, you're right next to the river. You're in a flood zone. I'm like, okay. And so I went and looked up everything. We're not. And I'm like, I don't know how that works, but we're not. And so I don't know, maybe just the levee is not as tall on the other side of the river. So like if it does flood, it'll flood on the other side of the river and take out CHP and Good Day and IKEA and everything over there, but leave us alone. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not in a flood zone supposedly, but I'm like watching this river getting further and further up the levee on our side. And I'm like, if we're getting as much rain Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week that they're saying we're going to get, I'm like, that's a lot of rain coming in. It still has a bit to come to get up to the top of the levee, but I'm like, man, I don't know how much I'm trusting this flood zone right now.
Yeah. Go get some sandbags.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy out here.
Yeah.
I remember, because we did the house swap with my parents, right?
Yeah.
Well, sort of. My parents have moved houses and my dad asked me when this rainstorm was about to hit, he's like, how bad do I need to worry about flooding in this house? Like, do I need to concern myself with that? And I said, no, it's fine. And he's like, how do you know? I'm like, well, last year we broke the record for the most amount of rainfall in 24 hours and the house was fine.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to do that in this storm, but this house has survived this it was built in the early 70s, right?
Yeah.
It survived the late 80s, crazy
the
rain.
87 flood year.
And the early 90s flooding. And last
the 96, 97 flood year.
Yep. Yeah. And it has never had any problems.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're going to have an issue. And he's like, okay. And then we had the rain and he's like, yeah, the house is totally fine. It floods this way and it floods the everything. You get a big puddle here, but then all the water flows out that way. And I'm like, yeah, I told you this. I told you it's like, this is crazy. And he told me, and the house we're moving into, but the listeners kind of don't. So our houses are next to each other. Just one up the road. And then up the road from me is an irrigation ditch that goes throughout the neighborhood and throughout the Northern California kind of region that we're in. And then there's a hill that if you continue going up the road. My dad said in the 80s, it rained so hard one time that the water was flowing down the hill, filled the irrigation ditch, running across the irrigation ditch, down into the backyard of the house I'm moving into, and was about a foot and a half deep running through the backyard down towards the house I moved out of.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, I've never seen that.
Yeah, that's pretty
I
crazy.
don't remember that. So apparently he was like, we couldn't have gotten more rain than that. And I was like, well, I don't know. So anyways, both of the houses are fine. We had a little tree fall. Baby tree. And now I need a chainsaw.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been pretty good. I was hosting my whole family.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, here, let's this is kind of what we've been up to. So let's get first into housekeeping stuff.
Okay.
And then we'll get into some of the stories from the weekend.
Sounds good.
All right. We're in January.
We are in January.
Officially not just in future terms anymore.
Right.
So we're launching the single tire inflators for Morflate today as of recording. So by the end of day Wednesday, they'll be up on the website, ready to go, good to go.
Okay. Excited.
And so we're giving away 2 of the trail versions of them for January's giveaway.
Yes.
So if you guys want to be included in that, make sure you head over to irate4x4.com, the sweet little forum board over there that Austin runs. And make sure you go into the Snail Trail 4x4 forum, which is located above the Wheeling Wine and Whiskey one because it's better. And just go on in there. And if you're on a computer, it'll be on the right-hand side, all your sign-up options. If you're on a mobile device, it'll be down at the bottom of the page. So to get signed up for the monthly giveaway here, and you got to make sure you do that before January 31st.
Yes.
So anything after January 31st will count towards February's giveaway rather than January.
How much is one of those sets?
$120.
$120.
Yep.
Got it.
And that comes with the single tire inflator, the whip that goes to your from the inflator to your tire, and then a 15-foot whip that goes from your air source to the inflator.
Oh, cool.
So we really, for the trail version, we really designed it with power tank users in mind. Because power tank users like to just leave their tank mounted on their roll cage and then plug in a hose and go around to all 4 of their tires, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how we designed it. So we give you a 15-foot hose with the Morflate hose and hooks up everything real nicely and works great.
Excellent. So, I wanted to just throw a knowledge bomb out real quick to those people.
I like knowledge bombs.
To everybody out there. Irate 4x4 does not have an app.
Correct.
However, if you at least on Android, I'm assuming you can probably do this one way or another on an Apple. On Android, if you drag the URL onto your mobile desktop, it will create a shortcut on your mobile desktop so that it'll give you
on the home screen.
Yep. And so you can click it and then it'll bring you right over to wherever you set that URL to go. So mine's straight over the Toyota one.
Oh, you put it over in the Toyota.
Not
nice.
Not
the
.com,
home.
But so when I click it, I'll go straight into the Toyota forum on Irate 4x4, but you can just do Irate 4x4 and drag it over. And then for the most part, then you have a quick shortcut to get into the forum board.
Yep. I use mine. It comes up with a sweet little home screen icon as well. So it's not just like a Google Chrome icon.
Yep.
So you get the Irate 4x4 icon. It gives you notifications there as well whenever you have something on Irate 4x4. So
I wonder if it's the favicon.
I don't know. I don't know what a favicon is.
The little icons, like when you go to morflate.com and there's like a little icon up there that is...
Oh, in the tab?
In the tab.
Oh, that's what a favicon is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if that is the same... Like
what it pulls in?
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know what? You
can test it. Test the theory.
I'm going to go to morflate.com right now. All right. So I did it with Morflate. And I couldn't drag it. So I told you guys to drag it. But so I went to the 3 dots or a hamburger and then went down to add to home screen. And when I did that, it came up with your favicon, but then it did put a Chrome icon in the lower right for me as well.
Oh, interesting.
So Austin did something cool where he tricked the system and had it just come up with the Irate 4x4 setup.
Yeah.
But I do, if you want to just quickly add Irate to your desktop on your phone, that is an easy way to do it.
Nice. I forgot about that. There was another use that I could have used that for, but It's too late now. So
too late.
We'll get into that in a little bit too. Let's see. What else do we got going on?
Next item is we haven't received the payment yet from Patreon.
Nope.
So we haven't done the drawing for the 2 winners for December's giveaway, where Tyler and I are competing to see who you guys love more.
Correct.
In gift status.
Yep.
Yep.
So we'll do that next week for you guys, next Thursday, a week from, I guess, whenever you're listening to this.
Yeah. And I need to be, for my item, I need to be able to contact the winner before I send out the gift.
Gotcha.
So I can't have it be completely ready.
Oh, okay. I'm not. I'm just sending a couple bags full of candy.
Okay.
So yeah, the other fun thing that we started here, you guys are probably aware if you've listened to Monday's episode, is that we're working with Brian from 4-Wheel Underground.
Yep.
To do some advertising with him, help him out and get the 4-Wheel Underground brand out there more, which I think is pretty cool. I've already had a couple people reach out and are like, that's pretty cool. Like that's how you do ads.
Oh yeah. Okay,
yeah. I've already had they're like, man, cause like for me, there's nothing worse than like, if you're listening to an off-road podcast or an off-roading show of some sort, and you end up getting advertisements for like a Sleep Number bed.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Like what happened when we had to upgrade our account.
Yes. Whoopsies.
When people got like a Viagra.
Yeah. Viagra weight loss one. It's like, what?
That one is straight targeted at Jason. I don't know how it happened.
So yeah, we are working on advertising campaign and helping Brian with doing some branding and getting his name out there more in the off-road market, which is pretty freaking cool. And I've already had a couple people are like, yeah, this is how you do ads. Like, these are ads I don't mind getting. So you guys are going to be seeing those throughout the year here. They're going to get changed up. So they're not going to be the same old thing every time that you're going to get bored of listening to. But yeah, we're really excited to be working with 4-Wheel Underground and Brian. And I think he sounds pretty excited about it all too. So I think it's going to be like a win-win-win for everybody. It's going to be cool.
Absolutely. I'm excited to work with Brian. He's a great guy. He makes some phenomenal products. And I'm excited to really upgrade our level of off-roading capabilities, or however you want to say that. But moving from linked system, from leaf springs to links I'm really curious about it, because I've been on leaf springs my entire life.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, you need to go to links. And links are so much better. It's going to change your world. So I'm really curious. I'm going to have 2 rigs.
Yeah.
One on leaf springs, one on links, and I'll be able to literally probably drag somebody with me and say, I want to take Bobcat and Samantha up to the Rubicon and wheel them.
Yeah.
And
your job is to just take whichever vehicle I don't want to wheel at that moment.
Yeah. I'm going to bounce back and forth and wheel them through the same thing.
Yep.
Like I'm going to wheel through Gatekeeper in one and then wheel through Gatekeeper in the other one, and then test them out and play with them. So
that's funny.
I'm excited for it.
It'll be really neat. One thing that I'm looking forward to is we have a group text thread with Hussman, and 4Runner Dave.
Yeah.
And 4Runner Dave is also concurrently redoing his first gen 4Runner with 4-Wheel Underground kits to link it and coilovers and everything.
I think just the front.
Just the front, correct.
Yeah.
He's leaving the rear leaf sprung, but he's on FJ80 axles.
Correct.
So he'll be a little bit wider than Bobcat and Samantha. And then with a front linked and a rear leaf spring. Hussman is completely redoing his buggy right now.
Yeah.
With he's leaving all the suspension the same with the addition of 70-75 links, lower links. But he's changing up his whole drivetrain and putting in, that LZ9 engine and a turbo 450, or was it a 400?
I don't know.
It's either 400 or 450, but he did a reverse manual valve body on it, which is pretty cool. And then, so he's going to have a whole complete new drivetrain with a 2-speed Atlas, I believe. Did he do it 4?
He did.
No, he did the
Midnight.
The Midnight. That's right. The Dana 300 with the crawl box in it, crawl gear.
We'll have to have him on to go through
everything he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to have a completely new drivetrain. You're going to have Samantha. That's going to be
a completely new truck.
And I'm going to have Kermit, which will be a completely new vehicle as well. All the suspension is going to be completely new and
axles,
bigger axles. much bigger. So it's going to be really fun this year, kind of comparing notes on all 4 of our builds in our text thread, and then going to wheeling in summer together to compare everything and see how everything's going. So
yeah, Samantha probably won't be done by then, but yes.
But end of summer, Samantha's going to be done.
Okay, sure. Maybe.
Anyways, I'm excited for everything. We're just waiting on stuff to come in at this moment, and then we'll start tearing everything down on Kermit at least, and get him rolling when we get back from King of the Hammers is the plan. So,
wow, cool. Yeah. That's good news. That's exciting news. And thanks, Brian, for everything that you guys do at Four Wheel Underground and working with us and trusting us.
Yep. Let's see. We have a few reviews that we can do.
Okay.
So we are up to 443.
Woo. So 7 more to 450.
That's right.
And truck or 6-string trucker going to win again.
He'll win again. Yes. Oh man. So, at 450, we are doing a swag pack for a winner. And so we'll have that out for whoever ends up winning from the drawing at 450. And then from there, we're on the home stretch for the winch.
Yeah.
And then we'll have
50
to set
more reviews to get to 500.
To 500, yep.
And at 500, we're giving away a winch.
Yep. We're doing a drawing for a winch. What are we doing after 500?
I don't know. Tires?
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll figure out something for the next level.
Yep. Well, we'll figure out something. I think we may have some cool stuff getting lined up for this year. That
absolutely
would be fun to do as a giveaway on the next level. So
we did just get something in for our gift boxes.
We did indeed. Wait, we did?
Yep.
Oh.
I put it in the gift box area.
Oh, nice. Cool. I'll check that out later. Go sift through it.
You're going to take one home.
Yes.
I already know. Somebody's going to be one short.
One short. I don't know what happened. All right. So we got some reviews here. This one is from S2000 Drifter. And he simply says, you guys win.
Oh, thank you.
He says, I installed iTunes just for this review. Love the podcast and also want the winch. You guys really succeed with the proper blend of technical and reality. You're not obsessed with Jeeps or Ultra 4 racing like other off-road podcasts are. Keep up the good work, guys.
Oh, excellent. Thanks very much.
Yeah. We try and keep it even keel. We try not to get super enthused about a single topic. We don't want to burn you guys out.
Absolutely. Like last January with
the Ultra 4 or welding month or getting we can do more ham radio topics though. Yeah. Jimmy, why are you leaving? Jimmy's gone for the rest of the day, I guess. Come back. I'm not going to do ham radio topics anymore.
All right. Good. Ever?
I won't say that.
No, for a while. Okay. Well, I do want to tell everybody that you don't have to have iTunes. Well, you do for the review.
For the reviews,
yes. You can listen to us on almost every major platform out there.
Yeah, pretty much.
But we are doing the reviews straight off of iTunes.
Yeah, I don't think there is a platform that you can't listen to us on.
I'm sure there's one out there somewhere.
Maybe, yeah.
There's one in Scandinavia.
Maybe, yeah.
It's only for Scandinavians.
Right. So next one here is from James 8397. It says, great show. Listening from Wisconsin.
Wow. Where's that?
I don't know. Somewhere that one of the Balkans ran off to as well. Great show. That winch will look good on my CJ7. Oh, sorry. CJs don't belong outside. They belong in a museum, so you're not allowed to win the winch.
Oh, I thought the bolt pattern didn't line up.
That too, probably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For some reason, this winch doesn't bolt up to Jeeps. Yeah.
At all.
It's weird.
It's a Toyota only winch.
Yeah. They have the correct bolt pattern in the bumpers.
That is true. Yeah. They do. Even though like Toyotas don't even have a winch mounting bumpers at all. Next one here is from 802 Coma. Says, love the show. Good to listen to people crazy about Toyotas as I am. Just they're on the wrong coast is all. Yeah. Keep up the great work.
I was going to say, where the hell is 802?
All right, I don't know. It's on
somewhere on the East Coast, apparently.
East Coast. I don't care. I'm on the best coast. So, yep. And last one is from that T4R guy. Says,
Brennan?
Huh?
Brennan?
That T4R guy, is that his
Trail 4Runner?
I mean, maybe. Or Toyota 4Runner.
That's true.
It says, coming to you from Colorado. Not Brennan.
Not Brennan.
Hands down. Oh, I got to read full review. Hands down, the best off-road podcast available. I love listening to you guys while I work on my current daily, a 94 solid axle swapped 4Runner with a small block Chevy, keeping it classy for those non-LS folks. I love the content and I've heard every episode. Thanks for the laugh, advice, and positive energy. Hashtag keep crawling.
Heck yeah.
That was a cool one.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm really glad that somebody did an engine swap that wasn't Toyota and wasn't
an LS.
Well,
back in the day, you used to swap in those 4.3s.
Yeah, the 4.3 Vortex.
Mm-hmm.
Those are a great off-roading.
Yeah, but they're not offered very much anymore. So it's sort of, people can't do that swap as easily and the parts aren't readily available.
Yeah, true.
So that swap has kind of gone away.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much a 350 with like 2 cylinders cut off.
Yeah.
It was like pretty much the same exact block and everything. It just was missing 2 cylinders.
Yeah. So, I was thinking the other day, I saw a Jeep Cherokee come up with the high output inline 6.
Okay.
The 4-liter, for like $500.
What?
And it was like, he said that it had been in an accident and it was totaled and they were just looking to scrap it kind of thing. And I was like, I wonder if I got that inline 4-liter inline 6 and put it into Kermit. But I was like, I have barely had the 3.4 going for that long. I need to get the 3.4 a little longer.
I would assume that the horsepower is better in the 3.4, but not the torque.
Exactly. Yep. The torque is a lot better in the inline 6 than the V6.
Yeah.
So, so anyways, that's reviews. Thanks everybody for writing in.
Yeah. 7 more till we give away the next sticker pack or random stuff. I think I threw in some random stuff after as well.
We got to we'll hold it off.
Okay.
Because like the next 2 are people that we know.
Okay.
I just noticed.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait. That'll be fun.
Yep.
Excellent. Yeah. So 7 more till we give away a gift swag pack and then 50 more after that until we give away the winch. Thank you everybody for writing reviews. This is definitely the easiest way and best way that you can help out the podcast. This is the way that iTunes ranks everything. It's how items get put in front of other people that are just searching for off-road content by similar podcasts and liked podcasts. The other way that you can help us out is simply share it with your friends. Find out if they like listening to podcasts and then find out if they've heard of Snail Trail 4x4 podcast and then share an episode with them.
Yeah.
We have a few really good highlighted episodes. Episode 220, Rubicon history. Episodes 344, which are the Rubicon history names. So, those are always great starting spots.
Yeah, for sure. I like it. Let's see. What else do we got on the docket? Do we have anything else? I don't think we do.
I have one more item.
You have one more item.
It's just sort of an announcement or sort of a PSA.
Oh, okay.
Well, not a PSA, but just sort of an announcement that the Rubicon Trail Foundation has announced the dates for Cantina for the Con.
Oh, yeah.
Which is July 1st.
July 1.
Yep. So put that on your calendars, especially if you're in the NorCal area and you want to come out for Cantina for the Con. Not exactly sure where it is yet. Probably the same place it was last year.
Yeah.
But
Rob's Resort.
Yep. But mark it on your calendar, save the date, July 1st, Cantina for the Con.
I like it. And that's a big fundraiser for RTF. They do 3 big fundraisers a year, two big fundraisers a year. One is Black Tie and Boots.
Black Tie and Boots.
The other is Cantina for the Con. And I thought there was another one. I thought there was the Show and Shine at the Off the Rocks, whatever the distillery is.
Well, the distillery is Dry Diggins, but I think they call it Off the Rocks.
Off the Rocks Show and Shine. That's what it is. Yeah. So, we have dates for all of those. The Black Tie and Boots is all sold out.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, damn.
So, if you guys are interested in a table, I am not going to be able to go now.
Oh.
So, I do have 2 seats available. We have to get in contact. It's at the Mad Hatter's table, one of the Mad Hatter's tables. So reach out if you are interested in supporting, and we'll get you details on how to do that. So the other one is Cantina for the Con, and then the dates for Off the Rocks Show and Shine has not been announced yet.
Okay, cool. Yep. Speaking of RTF,
yes, Rubicon Trail Foundation. There was an incident that happened this weekend.
I was going to add, you want to go into that? We want to talk about that?
I think it's a great transition since we're already talking about RTF.
Yeah.
And
the Rubicon's closed.
The Rubicon Trail is closed, which is very weird to have happen because it's a non-maintained county road. And I got a big lesson in how the control of the trail works.
The control of the road.
The control of the road, yeah. This non-maintained county road here. And because it's a non-maintained county road, there's an easement with the Forest Service because it travels through El Dorado National Forest.
Okay.
So the county is in charge of and owns the 50 feet of the trail, 25 feet off center line, right?
Yes.
And there's an easement with El Dorado National Forest about this. And the easement is made in such a way that in order to shut the road down, you have to have 4 different entities agreeing to shut it down.
Okay.
And so one of those is obviously County Parks and Rec, because that's who kind of oversees the trail for maintenance.
El Dorado County.
El Dorado County.
Yep.
Parks and Rec. El Dorado County Sheriff.
Okay.
El Dorado County Department of Transportation, and El Dorado County Board of Supervisors.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So in order to shut down the trail, all 4 of those entities have to explicitly agree. And what the reasonings for it are is Parks and Rec is typically, since they're the ones overseeing the trail, they bring up the recommendation to close the trail for closure to the other 3 entities. And then the other 3 entities have to agree and say whether or not it's a qualified event for closure.
Got
it. Parks and Rec saw the incoming storm and was recommended by the State Water Board to shut the trail. And also because of the Wentworth Springs stuff. Oh, I haven't listened to Lee's podcast yet. I need to listen to that.
I've listened to a chunk of it.
Okay. So anyways, because of the Wentworth Springs recovery and the threat of a front loader being in play with that recovery, El Dorado County Parks and Rec is freaking out about environmentalists complaining to them about environmental damage, even though there was never any environmental damage with that recovery at all. The loader never left pavement.
The loader probably didn't even leave the trailer.
They unloaded it off the trailer, but it never went off pavement ever. So
they loaded it off the trailer and then loaded it back up.
Pretty much. Yeah. And so, because all the environmentalists are complaining about hearing about this loader, the County Parks and Rec is like, nope, we can't let anybody else go off-roading because it's going to cause environmental damage right now with these storms coming up, which is not a good reason to close the trail. It's not a qualified reason to shut the trail. So what County Parks and Rec did, what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to check in and give a recommendation to close the trail to those 3 other entities: Sheriff, Department of Transportation, Board of Supervisors.
Okay.
County Sheriff has to look at the safety of the trail. They're the ones that can deem whether or not it is safe for people to go out and close a county road because of an emergency status and it not being safe due to whatever's going on right now.
Okay.
The Department of Transportation can close a road due to the road being unusable by a vehicle. And I'm like,
okay, so what say do they have on the Rubicon?
Exactly. I'm like, so pretty much
they just fall in line with what other people are going to say.
Exactly. They're just going to fall in line. Right. And then the board
or define vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so Board of Supervisors, if the sheriff and DOT agree, then the Board of Supervisors is most likely going to agree unless they have some personal vested interest in the trail that they were like, no, I don't want to close it. But if they do close it, they have to put in a closure notice. that has to explain why the trail is being closed, for how long it's being closed, or how long that closure notice is valid for. So it's a lot like a forest order.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, none of that was followed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. County Parks and Rec was just like, we're going to close the trail.
And so they didn't put it to the other crew.
I don't
The other people didn't say yay or nay, and the official form was never filed.
Yep. So, okay. We Rubicon Trail Foundation, and this is why RTF is so paramount in what they do and why they're around. They looked at the closure, they dug into it, they called County Parks and Rec and said, "Hey, why is the trail closed?" And they said, "Hey, it's closed because of this incoming storm coming up. It's going to be too dangerous for people to go out there. We're going to get environmental damage. We're going to get all this other stuff. The trail's not usable. There's going to be more than 12 inches of running water on the trail." And RTF is sitting here like, you realize the trail's under snow right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, how is there going to be 12 inches of running water? I mean, maybe there might be on the trail, but like the trail's all under snow. So like the vehicles will not be in that water. So I don't know how you're using this as a reason to close the trail. And so RTF went over to the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office and said, "Hey, I'm just curious, did you guys, can we see a copy of the explicit notice that you guys have given saying the trail is too dangerous to be on right now?" And El Dorado County Sheriff said, "We never said that." They're like, "Oh, no, we have the resources to keep patrolling the trail if it needs be. We have the resources for search and rescue to go get people out if need be. And we do not intend to give our okay to close the trail."
Okay. So one entity has pretty much said no.
Yeah. And that's really all you need. Like, it has to be all four entities have to agree to close the trail in order to close the trail.
Right.
According to the easement that was done with the Forest Service. And so they were like, "No, we have no intention of enforcing any kind of closure. We did not agree to that." And so we're like, "Okay, that's good to know." Huh. And so they asked Department of Transportation. Department of Transportation is pretty much like, "Well, we don't do anything on the trail anyways. It's a non-maintained county road. So
yeah,
it's kind of like travel at your own risk." And so
they're like, what did everybody else say?
Pretty much. Yeah. And so, they didn't get an official closure notice from DOT either. And the Board of Supervisors definitely did not put out any official notice.
Correct.
So, it is 1000% an illegal closure. And, Rubicon Trail Foundation is looking into, legal action right now to get the trail back open. Because as of yesterday, I didn't check today, Wednesday, but as of Tuesday, yesterday, the trail was still closed, quote unquote, by the county Parks and Rec. Right. And so Rubicon Trail Foundation is now putting in a subpoena and looking at legal action to get the trail reopened and to have something set in place to make sure that the Parks and Rec can't just close the trail without all the agreements according to the easement.
Right. And it was sort of a perfect storm, right?
It really was. Yeah.
Sort of pun not really intended.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because the Park and Rec threw in this closure, or literally right before the holidays, nobody was really around during the holidays to do anything about it. So now here we are shortly after the holidays are over. And now all this action's coming out.
Yep. And so that's what RTF did. They were like, "Hey, let's wait until after the holidays, give them the benefit of the doubt and see if they actually did get permission from everybody. And everybody did agree that the incoming storm is going to be too much for their resources to handle."
Sure.
And like, that's the big thing. I was talking with the president of RTF, Ken Hauer, and he goes, "Hey, if El Dorado Sheriff comes and says, no, we are expecting, we're short-staffed because of holiday and people might be sick. There's people can't come in and we're going to be low on resources and manpower to do all this." Like, I get it. Yeah. The trail should be closed in that case.
Yeah.
But that's not the answer that El Dorado County Sheriff gave.
No.
And so, whether or not it was a good idea to close the trail is kind of not the point of the legal action that RTF is facing.
Sure. The legal point is they did it incorrectly, and they shouldn't have just been able to put their power struggle or power trip down and say that I have the authority to do this and I don't need anybody else.
Yep. And it was very vague as to how they did it. They just said the trail's closed until further notice.
Yeah.
That's the only notice they put out to the public. It wasn't like, oh, the trail is closed until after the storm comes through, or, hey, the trail is closed due to emergency resources not being available. So we're recommending closure so that people don't go up and suck up emergency resources during this big storm that's coming in. Nothing like that. It just said
trail's closed
until further notice.
Yeah, until further notice.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's because of groups like Rubicon Trail Foundation and other trail advocacy organizations out there that allows us to not hand over our access to off-roading and off-road recreational areas to government agencies, entities that would just find it easier to close places rather than do their job and maintain the places so that we have places to recreate.
Yeah, that's well said.
Yeah. So, again, if you are available July 1st, come out to Cantina for the Con and really support Rubicon Trail Foundation and all your other off-roading advocacy organizations out there. So, support them and do what you can to support them. If you can't spend time volunteering with them, then give $20 here and there whenever you can. So,
yeah. Or even, I mean, who do the parts go to? When people donate parts to the Rubicon? They go to Rubicon Trail Foundation. Okay. And they live in, there's a couple of hidden parts cabinets that are locked on the trail. And so that way the parts are accessible depending on where you're broken out on the trail to get you spare parts. And I think they sell them at, if it's a brand new item, they sell them at new plus 10%. And that 10% just goes back to Rubicon Trail Foundation as a donation. And if they're used items that are still in usable condition, like say someone upgraded their axle shafts and they have stock shafts, then they donate them to the trail. I'm not sure what the pricing is that they do on those, but I know that it's under new pricing. Sure.
So,
right. Yeah. And a lot of times it's great for you, an opportunity for you guys to get rid of some of the old stuff that you have laying around, especially if it's a Dana 35 axle stuff. You can donate it to RTF. And then when somebody breaks a Dana 35 out on the trail, you know, they can have the parts there
to get them fixed
instead of trying to find somebody in town to bring them up and figure out a shuttle system to get everything out there.
Yep.
You know? Yeah. I know that Morflate has donated tire repair kits out to RTF, which is really cool. And now that we're talking about it, I have a few knuckle assembly stuff, knuckles, like old school, like 4-bolt knuckles
ones, Toyotas
that I could probably donate and to them, because I know that a lot of people shear off their 4-bolt knuckles, steering arms and knuckle setup. And I could probably, I have 6 shooters on all my stuff, so I can probably donate some of those to them.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I think those would be to good causes. So support your off-road trail advocacy organizations because without them, then government agencies are more likely to take the easy route rather than doing their job. So let's see. So that's the first update I wanted to kind of get everybody updated about. We'll keep you guys updated on that happening as more details come out. So I had 2 more updates.
Oh, all right.
That I think will be kind of fun. Maybe a little bit informational for people. One of them is fun, I think. I went to try and set up my brake calipers on the rear axle this weekend or before the weekend, slightly before. And that requires putting the rotors on because I have the unit bearing cups all welded on. I cut off my unit bearing cups and re-welded them.
Oh,
so
you got that much flack?
Yep. Well, not really that much. Like I'm actually kind of surprised at how much I didn't get. I had, there was 2 people that were like on the Instagram post said, hey, you should probably look at rewelding those. And here's why. You need to look at it, be a little hotter. You need to be this, blah, blah, blah. And they gave me reasonings for it. And I was like, Okay. And so I asked Hussman, and he goes, yeah, you really should. And here's why. And I was like, okay, cool. And then there were some other people that were just like, LOL, you're dumb. And I was like, okay, I'm just ignoring you.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I had MF Orion come over and look at him because he did industrial welding before I stole him from his last job. And he came over and looked at him. He goes, yeah, it could probably be hotter for sure. And I was like, okay, so then I was like, okay, that's cool. Let's do it then. I'm going to cut them all off, grind them down and re-weld them. So I did that, and I did 3 passes instead of just 2. And I cranked up the settings on, my Miller 251. So, it got hot enough and, it should be good. I started undercutting a little bit from how hot I was getting.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I was like, okay, we should be good. But I got those re-welded back on. Unit bearings are on. And I went to put the rotors on and the holes did not line up to the unit bearings studs.
Yeah. That's crazy because there's only 2 options for 8 lug patterns, right?
8x170, which is the newer Ford bolt pattern.
Okay.
And 8x6.5, which is what like all the American axles were that were 8 lug before like 2000s, something like that. So like a lot of your 14 bolts that you'll see out on the trail, your Dana 60s fronts, they were all 8x6.5.
Okay.
So I did mine. I did as 8x6.5. And so I was like, okay, cool. And when I ordered the rotors from Busted Knuckle Offroad for the brake kit and everything, they said it should be 8x6.5, should match the 8x6.5 unit bearing. And I was like, cool, we're good. So I got them, put them on, and they didn't fit.
Yeah. And you sent out a photo to the group. You're like, what the hell? And we were like, well, use the other pattern.
Yeah.
Silly.
I was like, no, that doesn't work at all.
That didn't work either.
Yeah.
So what was the problem? Like why aren't they fitting?
It just seemed like they were drilled off center. Like it's like some of the holes were drilled slightly, like instead of being 6.5, they were like 6.4.
Oh, really?
Some of them. Yeah.
So did some holes line up and some holes didn't?
Yeah. Like the bottom 3 to 4 holes lined up, and then like all the top ones didn't line up, and they were catching on the threads of the studs. And so it was like the studs just weren't centered in the hole. And I was like, so do I just drill these out 1/16 of an inch to get them to fit, or should I get these proper? Like I didn't get them used. I bought them new. So it's not like something that I think have to get modified. Like if I buy it new for an 8x6.5, it should be set up for 8x6.5.
Agreed. And I wouldn't want to drill those. You don't want those to be
slopping around at all.
Right.
Yeah. And so I'm kind of like, all right, let's call Busted Knuckle. And it was Friday, so I wasn't sure if they were going to be open because of the holidays. They were open. Yeah. Talked to Trey, and he goes, yeah, no, those should definitely slide right on. It should line up perfectly. And I was like, I mean, is there any reason why it might be off? Like, he goes, well, when did you place your order? And I was like, I want to say I placed it early September or something like that. And I had to go look at my emails. I was like, September 8th is when I placed the order, and I got everything in by the end of September. And he goes, yeah, I mean, we did have a production issue kind of around that time, but not exactly around that time. And I was like, well, was your production issue that some of the holes were not centered properly when you drilled them? He goes, yeah, that sounds about right. And I was like, okay, so do I need to buy new rotors, or are you guys replacing these, or what's going on? He goes, no, I'm going to replace them for you. He goes, I just need to figure out if I want to pay for the shipping to get your rotors back from you, and if it's going to be worth it for us or not. And I was like, yeah, I get that. I do that with my business all the time. Like, it's not worth the $20 in shipping to get it back from you, so keep it.
Especially if they're wrong.
Right.
And not resellable.
Right. He might be able to sell them for the 8x170s pattern on them.
True.
But, yeah. So, he goes, you know what? And he goes, no, I'm going to send you 4 new rotors, and I'll send you a return, shipping label just go ahead and send all the other ones back. I was like, cool. And that was it. So supposedly I have 4 new rotors coming, and I'm waiting for those to show up before I make any more progress on the axles.
Ah, got it. Cool.
Yeah. So that's the axle update. And then another other fun update. I don't know if it's fun really, but I got a lot of people replying when the last time we talked about it.
Talked about what?
My license plate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm having this issue with my license plate where it's a ham radio call sign.
Right. So it's a vanity plate.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's an
amateur radio.
It's an amateur radio classification.
Yep. It has its own designation for license plates.
Yeah. It's different than a vanity.
Yep. And so the problem I'm having is that police officers can't pull it up in their systems. But DMV claims it's correct in their system. So I actually, after we talked about in the last podcast, and I posted about it on Instagram with the cop pulling me over on the freeway, I had 4 different law enforcement officers reach out to me.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And say, this makes no sense why you're having this much trouble. And I said, I agree. Help me. And so all 4 of them were like, yeah, we cannot pull up your plates if we type in K6TLR. But if we put in your VIN, or if we put in K6 space TLR, your registration comes up perfectly, just fine. And I'm like, but my license plate doesn't have a space in it. And they're like, yeah, it doesn't. I was like, so how do I fix this? They're like, you have to go down the DMV and tell them that there's a space in your registration. They need to fix it on their end. So I had 4 different law enforcement officers, Leos, tell me this. So I went down to the DMV, made an appointment, went down there, and I was like, hey, look, I'm getting pulled over because of this. And really, I don't mind too much. Like, I know if I get pulled over, it's going to be whatever. I just kind of deal with it. And within 5 minutes,
they just walk up to my window with their gun drawn. That's all.
Well, yeah. And I was like, and within 5-10 minutes, they realize what's going on and I can be on my way. However, I had a gun pulled on me last time and I'd rather not repeat that again. So let's get this fixed.
Yes.
And DMV goes, yeah, it's in our system, correct? I'm like, no, it's not. They cannot pull it up by my license plate. And they're like, well, here's what happens. When we put in a amateur radio designation plate, the DMV's system automatically puts in an identifier code, a classification code, and it's called an ID code H. And you have to put that in when we put in your license plate. And when we put in that classification H, it automatically puts a space between the 6 and the T of your license. Okay. And I'm like, well, that's stupid because that's not what my license plate is.
Right.
And they're like, that's how our system works. And I was like, well, can you guys fix your system then? And they're like, no, because it's a government run system. The only way to get it to change is to go through legislation. Legislation has to be passed in order to get this fixed or have it done differently. I was like, well, that's never going to happen because there's not going to be enough ham radio call sign people with plates out there that are going to complain enough to have legislation made. So I was like, well, that's never going to get fixed, I guess. And so I told one of the law enforcement officers again, I was like, hey, look, this is what they're telling me. And he goes, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I was like, that's how they have it in their system. And they said that it cannot be changed unless I change it into a vanity plate.
Right.
Or just to get a regular license plate. He said, if I have an amateur radio call sign plate, then it's going to have a space in my registration.
I think your biggest issue is that it's classified as stolen.
Well, the K6 TLR with no space is classified as stolen. K6 space TLR is not classified as stolen at all.
Okay, that's interesting. So there's 2 license plates out there. That's another problem.
Well, that's the big issue. So apparently when SAC PD recovered my 4Runner, the first gen, and they ran a report on it, and it's called a 180 report. And what happened was when you run a 180 report for stolen items and recovered items. So you can run a 180 for a recovered item. Oh, they ran a 180 report saying the 4Runner was recovered. And then they also made a separate 180 report saying my plate was stolen. And I was like, that's where the problem is coming in, because my plate was not actually stolen. It was lost on a trail somewhere.
Right. A plate isn't available.
Correct.
One of the 2 plates are available.
Yes. So what the SAC PD should have done, because when they put it in as a stolen plate, they didn't put it in as the K6 space TLR on the registration. They put it in as K6 TLR, which is technically a non-existent license plate according to the DMV.
Right.
So anytime a cop runs K6 TLR, it comes up as one historical record tied to that plate because it doesn't exist. It has never been ran in the system. It doesn't exist in the DMV system. So they just get this historical record from the 180 report. So what I need to do is I need to go down to SAC PD and convince them to do a recovered 180 report on that plate so that it doesn't show up in the system anymore.
I wonder if you are going to have to show both plates.
That's what I'm wondering. So if I need to show both plates, and that means I need to get one replacement plate made at the DMV. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, the form allows you to do it, but at the same time, like, I'm not sure how that exactly works, because the whole point of reporting a plate lost is that they take that plate then out of the system so that if somebody happens to find that plate, they can't go use it later down the road. But I'm like, that's my call sign. So I can't get a new plate or call sign made.
Well, you can get a new call sign.
No, I can't. You shut your dirty mouth over there.
You could be KN6 TLR.
No. And so I'm like, I don't know what they're going to do. So I have an appointment tomorrow with the DMV to renew my license, because I'm also at the point where I need to renew my license. And I'm going to ask them, how do I get a replacement plate made for one of my lost plates? And then once I get that made, then I'll take the rig down to SAC PD and say, hey, can you guys, I have both of my plates. Can you do a 180 report saying this one's been recovered?
Yeah.
That way, at least from now on, whenever a law enforcement officer runs my plates, it'll just show up as doesn't exist.
Right.
And then I'll just get pulled over and be like, why are your plates fake? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. I know that when they made the incorrect plates for Bobcat, for when it was KJIMMY, K Jimmy with an I, and it should have been a 1. The DMV said that I needed to bring in, like, it was an exchange. I needed to bring in the old plate, give it to them, and then I can get my new plates.
Yeah.
And so maybe they'll hopefully do that for you. Like, okay, one's lost, one's here. I need the one that's here.
Yeah.
You need to give that one to me so then I can give you the 2 new ones.
Well, the form specifically says, how many replacement plates do you need?
Oh, well, if you can just say one.
Just one.
So maybe in my case, I did need both. So they did that.
Maybe.
They were cool enough to just let me keep the K Jimmy.
Oh, that's nice.
Because it was never in the system. It was never there. It knows those plates don't ever exist. I could romp them around and have, like, flipping James Bond plates or whatever. But I put it up in the shop because it's cool.
Yeah.
So hopefully you can just get one replacement plate. You can take both the plates down to SAC PD, say, hey, I found the other plate. I was pulled over the other day in the mountains. A cop came up to me with a license, like with his gun drawn, tell him the whole story. Say, can you fix this on your end? I have both plates.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll get fixed.
Yes.
Or at least the incorrect K6 TLR record will get fixed.
Correct. Yeah.
We'll see.
Because once it's not in the system as stolen or a historical record of it, the person running your plate will probably go, invalid plate. Oh, it must have a hidden character, or it must have another way to call this up.
Maybe they call dispatch while they're driving behind me. I don't know. Because one of the enforcement officers I was talking to said, even if, like, there's a space in there, they don't have to type in the space in order to get the registration to pull up.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do.
So the first thing that comes up is the stolen plate.
That's the only thing that comes up.
Oh, because they're not typing. Well,
because they're typing K6 TLR, but typing in K6 space TLR.
But if you don't have to type in the space, then why doesn't the rest of it show up?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think that law enforcement officers, the law enforcement agencies, plate running software, whoever designed the software doesn't know about amateur radio plates being a separate classification. And so it doesn't peruse the DMV database for amateur radio plates. It just says, I need a plate with this number on it. And because they're not looking under an amateur radio designated plate, that's not coming up at all.
Right.
And I think that it's just because amateur radio is like, for somebody who's designing software, is such an unknown thing.
Well, and it's a small market too,
yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. But I was curious. I went and looked at my father-in-law's.
But doesn't it fall under the umbrella of the first responder area?
I don't know. It's on that same form, but
Yeah.
it's a separate classification from the first responder. Yeah. So I don't know. I went and looked at my father-in-law's registration, and his has 2 spaces.
Oh, he's fucked.
Right. And I've asked him, I was like, have you ever gotten pulled over? He goes, no. And I was like, well, if you ever do, just notice that your registration here is W1 space RH. And you're going to have to tell that to the cop. And he goes, what? Why? And I went through everything. He goes, that's stupid.
Right.
So,
well, can we get Frank on this now that he's retired?
Maybe now that he's retired, he might be able to say something about it. We'll have to see. I'll have to message him, text him, see if he knows anything about it.
Yeah. Interesting though.
Yeah. So the saga continues.
I don't drive Bobcat on the road a lot, but I've never had that issue with Bobcat.
Yeah. And I haven't heard of any hams having that issue before. So I don't know.
I believe the biggest issue is the fact that when the cop types in K6TLR, the very first thing probably pops up for that is the stolen vehicle report or the stolen license plate
report. Yeah.
And it might even have stuff below it, but that's the first thing they see. And they go, we got a serious situation here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to make a license plate frame for you.
Yeah.
It says
that's the other option.
Yeah. There's a space in my license plate.
Yeah. I was thinking about that or getting vinyl decals for the rear tailgate that says vehicle not stolen. Put K6 space TLR.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I don't know. Well, I have a trip to the DMV tomorrow to see if I can get another plate made, and then I have to wait for that to come in. Once that comes in, then I can go to SAC PD and see if I can at least eliminate the stolen record. So good times.
Yay.
Woo. That's all I got. That's all the updates info I got. So
sounds good.
Yep.
Yeah. The last things, I mean, if we wanted to talk about anything of our New Year's stuff, that I don't know. Mine was pretty low key. Yep. Hung out with the assistant and some of her friends. We didn't have the mini assistant, so we went kind of hard since we had some freedoms, but then regretted that decision when we had to do an extra like 3 to 4 hours of driving to go get the mini assistant the next day. Yeah. But we did some urban camping, as the assistant likes to say. We literally drove up to our friend's house, parked on the street, popped the rooftop tent over into the sidewalk. And it rained up until about 10 o'clock. So right around 10, when I noticed it wasn't really raining hard, I went out, popped the rooftop tent. So it wasn't bothering anybody for very long in the street. And yeah, we went out and bought another heated mattress pad.
Okay.
Because a year ago on New Year's, we used a heated mattress pad, and then the rest of this year, we haven't been able to find the cord that goes from the mattress pad to the battery. I don't know where it went. If we left it outside, if we took it somewhere, if we shoved it in another bag, we haven't been able to find it for a year. So we went out and bought another heated mattress pad.
Yeah.
And when we got it, I was like, that cord looks identical to the one I had. And it sure as shit, it plugs right up. Everything works fine. So now we have a brand new heated mattress pad that we're going to leave in the box or if we ever need to use it in a house. And we have an older one that's a little dirty from camping that is going to stay in the rooftop tent, and the cord's going to bounce back and forth.
We can probably make you a cord.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You need a controller with
true.
the heating things, and then it's 4 plugs. And this new one though has a preheat feature.
Yeah.
Well, it'll run for half an hour, as hot as it can go. And then after 30 minutes, it'll turn down.
Drops down. Nice.
Turns down to whatever you have it set to.
Yeah. Nice. That's cool.
So when I knew we were getting ready to go to bed and I could tell the night was winding down, people were taking off. I ran outside and hit the preheat button and the bed was toasty. It was nice.
Nice.
And it was warm that night, all in all, even though it was cloudy and overcast.
Yeah.
And so I turned the electric blanket off an hour into us jumping into the tent.
Nice.
So yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. We had a power went out at my house.
That's right.
While my family was over. I was hosting my family
3 dogs, 2 cats.
3 cats.
3 cats.
Yep. 3 cats, 3 dogs, 18 people, 19 people. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And so once the power went out, you guys give me grief about my Gear Wrench LED light collection.
Oh,
but it came in really handy, man.
Oh, I bet. Probably that Gear Wrench heated jacket too.
No, didn't need it.
Oh,
yeah. The heater all worked. Heater worked just fine. Yeah. Well, I guess we had the fireplace on. Fireplace worked just fine because it's all on gas, and the hot water worked just fine.
It's on gas
because it's on gas, hot water heater. So, but yeah, we had enough people in the downstairs of the house that like the downstairs was like 76 degrees.
Wow. Nice.
So it wasn't that big of an issue at all. It was just dark. So I pulled out, the Gear Wrench lights and set them up 1 per room, and it was all we needed.
Yeah.
Which is really impressive. But yeah, we, did
you
that.
set them all on the strobe feature?
No, I would have had a seizure. People start dropping like flies. So yeah, that was it. But lights went out, power went out. And then, I'm on a, part of the power grid that is a, high priority.
Oh,
because I'm right there next to the levee. And so they've got levee control systems and sensors built into the levees that are on my part of the power grid, or I'm on its part of the power grid.
Yeah, got it.
And so my power came back on within about an hour and a half. And 3 blocks away, they were without power for like 3 days.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. My new house is on the same grid as a fire station.
There you go.
So power almost never goes out.
Yeah. Yep. It's nice being on those power grids. So, yeah, it was fun. New Year's. We ended up, after the lights and power came back on, we kind of turned all the lights off anyways and went back to, just low lightage and played some board games.
Oh, cool.
Most everybody took off, and then a few people stuck around to stay up for New Year's. So
nice.
Yeah. But I did get to use all the rock lights on the 4Runner to light up the front yard in order to get people out of the house with lighting.
That's funny.
Yep. So
cool.
Yeah, it was a fun weekend. Some fun updates for everybody. I've got some fun plans coming up this weekend, and next weekend is Winter Fun Fest.
Yeah.
So hopefully everybody's gearing up for that. That's going to be a really fun weekend with all the snow coming down right now. So
I was curious if it's still going to happen.
We'll see. Last year they had to reschedule it because of how much snow come down.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll make the call, I think, after this weekend.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought new inner axle seals and gussets, and I already have enough wheel bearings and stuff, even though I don't think those are bad. So my goal in the upcoming week is to put the new battery in, which I haven't done yet, and do some maintenance on the front axle because it is leaking. And then Bobcat will be ready to go.
Nice.
Yep.
Can be fun. I'm excited. Get some snow wheeling in. So, Jimmy, how can people get a hold of us if they have anything they want to tell us?
Yeah, you can email us, Jimmy or Tyler at snailtrail4x4.com. You can find us on Instagram. Tyler's over at 4x4 Toyota Tyler. I'm at snailtrail4x4. You can also call in. Do we have a voicemail from Donnie yet?
No voicemail from Donnie yet.
Shocked.
Yeah.
He must have gotten scared off once we were able to ring in the Land Rover guy super quick. But if you want to call in and make fun of Donnie, you can do that at area code 916-345-4744.
Nice. So cool, man. That's all we got. That's it for today's episode. Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully everybody's 2023 is going to be fun and exciting, and you get everything you ever wished for in life. So, Jimmy, do you have any final words for everyone out there?
KOH prep.
With that, my friends, keep crawling.
I got one for you.
Okay.
What happened to the man who shoplifted a calendar on New Year's Eve?
I don't know.
He got 12 months.
He got 52 weeks as well.
True.
Did he get 366 days?
Maybe.
Is this year a leap year? We haven't had a leap year in a while.
I don't know.
When is leap year?
I don't know.
I'm curious now.
Yeah. Negative? No. When's the next leap year?
Next year? This is a regular peasant year. 2023. Let's go 2024. Next year is
next
leap
year's
year.
a leap year. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.